Fawcett was a product of, he was born in 1867, Victorian England, which what he would have been educated from birth to believe in his own culture's and ethnicity superiority. So if that's the case, it's a miracle that he ever even thought to reach out to the Kayapo, the Kakuro, or anyone else. It would have been actually normal, if you want to put that in quotes, normal for someone like him to want to kill them, to consider them savage beneath him. Now, I'm sure he did in a large respect. He talked about finding white Indians in the Lost City. But still, the fact that he could even find it within himself to engage with them is a remarkable leap. So I didn't want to judge him. I didn't want the factual historical truth to judge him. I sought a greater truth in assessing him and where he sat in the flow of his own history, uh, and to establish his person with sympathy. You know, I've quoted this before, but it is central to everything that I believed and how I approached it, which is this George Eliot quote where she said, "The purpose of art is the extension of our sympathies." And it's not to put ourselves on a higher moral plane and say, what a piece of shit he was, or he's scum, or whatever. That's not effective or not interesting. Now, are the rules different if we make a movie about Adolf Hitler? Of course they are, because that's a person who is the worst person in the history of the world, maybe. But that's not the case here, and you have to make a judgment that is the person doing the best he or she can within the flow of history. And that was, I thought, a greater truth. It's not incumbent upon me as a director of narrative features to make a film that adheres to the specifics of every case. Now, I think that's folly anyway, because history has to be used by artists, if I may use that word to describe myself. It has to be used in a very open way. If we stick only to the facts, you're going to have a kind of, and I say this as a diehard liberal, you're going to have a kind of liberal fascism. And you're going to have a situation where you can only make one type of movie in one type of way. And that's not particularly interesting. So my embrace of this notion of truth is really to a greater truth. And the spectacle of the film will enable us only access to that greater truth.